Hi there. I'm Adrienne Everheart, your dating and relationship coach. And today I'm going to talk about really the number one best way to drive a man wild. So many of my coaching clients, this one wrong. Women I speak to every day, they get it wrong. And I myself, I used to get it way wrong. I was so confused about what this meant and how to really stand out to a man in a way that no other woman does. And I thought that this meant that I had to somehow be very seductive and have, just the perfect thing to talk about that he wanted to hear about, that I had to have my hair perfect and I had to be in like perfect shape and things like this. And, I had to at some point put out, and I'm going to talk about that today. So if you got kids in the room, make sure that you put on your headset because we are going to talk about how sex does come into play with this. However, just getting going, not only just sex, but certain types of sex, we're going to talk about that. And the thing that I just want to mention is that the problem that a lot of women are experiencing is that they come to me and they say the following: I like this guy, but I had a bad day and he acted like he didn't care. Or I told him how I felt. I opened up all my feelings and he just turned on the baseball game. My husband has done this to me before as well. So here's what's happening. If a man is not reacting or responding the way that you want him to be reacting or responding, and you're feeling like, I like this guy, but I got mad at him because he didn't do what I wanted him to be doing, there's a good chance that you have this man on a pedestal. And this is a very easy thing to do. Now, before you turn this video off, before you say, no, my man is not on a pedestal, I don't have this problem, I felt the same way because I didn't understand what it meant for me to have my guy on the pedestal. It's very different because I'm telling you all day long, have yourself up high on the pedestal so you'll have very high regard of yourself and you'll have your energy in this place where the man is looking up at you and he really wants to serve you and give to you and be there for you and make you super duper happy. Right? So this is where we want men. Men like a job. They like to make us happy and make us feel good. So hold on. Here's what I mean by pedestal. With my first husband, I will never forget my mom. When I found out something very wrong was going on in the relationship, and I was just devastated. I mean, just devastated. She said, you've been putting him on a pedestal. And I'm like, how can I put somebody on a pedestal that I'm angry at? That doesn't make sense. So how can you put someone on a pedestal that you're kind of PO'd with and you're angry with? Here's how. You have the expectation or the belief that one man can be all men to you. He's on a pedestal. He can do no wrong. He can be my therapist, my best friend, my lover, my masseuse, my counselor. He can listen to me when I have a bad day and he can make crazy love to me. He cannot do all these things. No man can. No man can. And if you find a man that can, there's a clock ticking on it, in my humble opinion. If you find a man that is too good to be real and he's just so perfect, you will get bored with him. I had one of those right out of college. I had a man that was mirroring everything back to me. I was a vegetarian. He was a vegetarian. I liked this music. He loved that type of music. And I got so bored with him so quickly. And all he was trying to do was mirror back to me, myself. He was using a technique on me, I'm pretty sure, and mirror back to me who I was so I would like him. And it worked for a little while. And then I was just like, why am I with this guy? I'm bored. So you're putting him on a pedestal. You're expecting him to be every man to you. And I want you to have lots of men in your life. I sometimes talk about my artist friend that I have who's a lot older than me. And I go have coffee with him at least, a couple times a month. I have traveled with him and his wife. We will sit on my front porch and share a bottle of wine. I will paint with him. We have a wonderful time painting. We'll sometimes just call each other on the phone. We have a really good bond and connection. We're both Libras. And it feels so good to have him in my life because he can absolutely listen to things that I would never really bother telling my husband. My husband doesn't really want to have these conversations with me. He doesn't want to have deep philosophical conversations about art, for example. I mean, he can handle it a little bit, but you see, he's not that person to me. And when I come to my husband and I've had a rough day or a problem or something, and he's just kind of, chopping up the dinner and not really paying me much attention, I have to remember that he's just not wired to respond that way. He's just not wired to be all of these people to me. Someone comes knocking at the door at 2 a.m. or rings our doorbell. He's the first person downstairs with a baseball bat in his hand. Oh, I love that. He wants to make love to me all the time. He's chasing me all the time. He's pursuing me. He's fixing things for me. He's doing things for me. I love all of those things. Those are action things. Feminine energy traits are listening to you, nodding and understanding. Feminine energy traits in your man, for most of us, will ultimately be a turnoff. But you can have feminine energy traits with a guy who is a friend. It's a wonderful thing. And of course, you have your girlfriends and you have other people that you really enjoy and want to spend time with. So that's the number one thing you want to drive him wild. You want him to get hooked on you. Don't put him on a pedestal. Don't put him on a pedestal. You are on the pedestal, and let him serve. Let him do things for you. Now, does this mean you never talk to him? You never do anything for him? You never cook a meal? All of these extremes that I get asked about sometimes. No, you do whatever you want to do. You do what feels right. But if you're doing something to get a reaction out of him or make him do something, now you're in trouble. Because a man will sense it 50 miles away that you're trying to get him to do something. He'll sense it and he won't like it and he won't trust you because he'll feel like you're manipulating him to try and get your way instead of just having this open, honest conversation. Ladies, are you hearing me here? Does that make sense? That if you go around it this way, he's going to have his ears up. And no, some people have said in my videos, they say, Adrienne, you make all guys sound dumb and sound stupid. Contrary, absolutely not. Men are very sensitive. They're very perceptive. They do all sorts of things that I don't want to do, that I can't do. And they absolutely are these powerful, wonderful creatures that we want in our lives. These human beings we want in our lives. Sometimes they're creatures, but you get what I'm saying. So they're very sensitive. They're very perceptive. And that's why I teach you what I call is the most honest work you will ever do. There is no manipulation. There's nothing fake. There's nothing behind anybody's back. There's no planning. There's no scheming. You don't even have to have a thought in your head. You really don't. You just be in your body, find what you're feeling, choose your words with some care. Make sure warmth is something you can do in your life, because warmth was a very odd concept to me. I thought, buck up, pull up your bootstraps. Come on, get with it, right? That was my idea of being warm, is come on, let's do this. And that had a lot to do with my upbringing, and a lot of you have dads that are the same way. So with men, it doesn't work in a relationship. It might work with your children. It doesn't work with men in a relationship. You have to be the soft, warm, beautiful place that he wants to retreat to. You're the only woman that really gets him. You're the woman that drives him wild. This is what is going to make you stand out from all other women. Now, let's talk about sex a little bit. This is coming up a lot in a lot of emails and on my free group, I Heart Love Academy, where women are talking about when is the right time to have sex with a man. And if I'm holding out, won't he get super focused on it? And then is he really getting to know me? Because he is so focused on this V-shaped area of your body Is he really getting to know me? You see what I'm saying? So I have a bunch of programs on my website, ABCs to get him, FEM programs, things like this. I have a program I did with my girlfriend Helena. So in all of those programs, I have something called a VIP library. There's a little book in there called Sex, Sex, Sex. Okay? And Sex, Sex, Sex goes through a lot of if-then scenarios about when you want to have sex with this man and how to go about getting commitment and things like this. So my question for all of you is, men go on dates not to find love and romance and maybe they'll meet the woman that they want to marry. That is not why they're out on a date. If that happens, that might be amazing. But more so, they're going on a date because there is a high likelihood they might get laid. And if they're not going to get laid that night, something else might happen. You know, they might make out with you. They might get their hand in your top or your blouse or whatever. Or who knows what might happen, okay? So here's the thing I want you to hear loud and clear. If you are on a date with a man and you're feeling like he might be a relationship material with you, that this is a man you are interested in having a relationship with, I want anything below the belt to not be in your thought or your mind. Now, good luck with that, right? Don't think about the big white elephant. So here's how you go about doing this. If you have any conversations or any energy about you that gets on the subject of sex or having sex, or it's kind of like, oh, is he going to want to, have sex with me or whatever, and that's in your energy, or should I, or when should I, the third date, you see how it's all in your head and it's in your thoughts and your mind. So I want you to have this place where, yeah, I'm a person. I have physical needs. Of course, I want to get close to another person. But I want you to begin to think about that man differently. So this is where I'm going to cause a great big uproar. Okay? When is the last time you think a man was wondering, instead of, when am I going to get to have sex with you and screw you, to when will this girl give me a blowjob? How often do you think men are thinking about that? You see, so often we're worried. Is he trying to have sex with me? When do I need to have sex with him? We forget about this other thing that is also a source of great, great power, of great, great desire in a man's world. Okay? So I want you to begin to just play with this idea. Instead of thinking about when should I sleep with him, when should I have sex with him, think about that other thing. I don't want to say it too many times or my video won't get played on YouTube or something, but think about it in that way. Now, here's the thing. As you begin to make this adjustment, that there's more than just sleeping with you, but there are some other things that you could do before then. And you can kind of have those in your mind as you're getting to know this man. But again, it's not your focus, because this is a man that you would like to build a relationship with. And you want him to also know you're not a cold fish. You're not someone who's not interested in sex. You can talk about sex with him eventually when it comes around to it, especially if you've been making out real heavy, things have been getting a little bit more intense. You can talk about sex with this man. You can talk about things like, I'm really afraid of, I'm scared of getting STDs, or I'm scared of getting pregnant, or, oh my gosh, it's been so long, I don't know. You can talk about things like this. You see, we're getting away from the triangle-shaped portion of your body, but you're letting him know, I'm actually interested in some other things too, and he'll be like, well, what? It'll blow his mind. You see, I want you to just experiment with this. I don't have all the answers for you because we're on YouTube. All right. But I want you to begin to experiment with this yourself and just see kind of what starts to wake up in you. Are any of you feeling something different, like a different little light switch is getting flipped on when I'm saying these things to you? Are they so radical that, instead of focusing on sex, there's other things. And, a man will get very fixated on that. It will drive him wild. It will drive him actually wild, because now instead of saying, when am I going to get to sleep with her? He's thinking, when is she going to do this to me? She said she liked doing that. It becomes a whole different game when that becomes in the subject. All right. The last thing I want to share with you, ladies, is that when you are in the process of really getting to know a guy and you want to get involved with him and you're feeling like this could be good relationship material, and even if you want to sleep with him eventually, make sure there is no alcohol involved. There's no illness involved, that this is a clean man. This is a man you are very confident about. His house is clean. His clothes are clean. There is a conversation about being clean, and you discuss it. I can't stress this enough, that, aside from seducing a man that you're interested in to have a relationship with, which you never want to do, you want to have these discussions about cleanliness and health and well-being. Because not only is this bad for your energy to invite anything in this or have a sort of laissez-faire attitude about it all, or I trust him, is that your energy as a woman, and I talk about moving up the tiers, your energy as a woman is so much more powerful when you're putting yourself first and you're putting your needs first, and you are ultimately focused on your health. You don't care whose feelings you hurt. You don't care how difficult it is to bring it up. With the man that became my husband, I had a conversation with him. I said, you will have to get tested. He goes, well, I've been with the same partner for 15 years and blah, blah, blah. And there was one person, but we use protection. I said, I don't care. In so many words, I need to know on paper. I need to know for sure. And sure enough, he showed me he had had his blood taken. It was all pouty. And I said, oh, yay. I guess, wow. Did it happen that night? No. So you see what I'm talking about? You get to have that cushion to let this unfold. When you're letting it unfold and he doesn't know when it's going to happen, and you don't want him to get to the place where he's so totally frustrated with you that he can't stand another minute of dating you or getting to know you because you keep dangling it in front of his face. This is where the art of seduction really unfolds, and not seduction in the way of I'm trying to get you in my bed. All right. But it's a different type of seduction. I call it the slow burn, the slow unfolding. I talk about a baseball game, how long a baseball game can go on. Men will sit there and watch every minute of it. And then that's just one game out of the series. And then there's the whole season. And then there's the playoffs. It's a lot of leading up to this one magical moment that's going to happen. So ladies, I know I'm having to talk around a lot of stuff, but I hope you're really hearing me on these topics, and some wheels can start to turn in your head. Now, I'm going to take a couple of questions and then I got to go, because guess what? We're going to watch baseball tonight with my husband. I'm going to watch the game slowly unfold. All right. So let me pull up a couple of questions. Let's see here. And please ask questions. I love to do the Q&A sessions at the end, but so often I don't really get a question. I get just a statement and I can't answer it. Let's see. Patty said, what if it's an ex that just wants sex? Well, do you just want sex with your ex, or do you want your ex back? So just like in any other sort of dating situation, as long as you're giving him what he wants, he's not going to leave until he gets bored with you and decides to have a real relationship with someone else. So what do you want your ex for? If you want to get him back, check out the ABCs to Get Him Back program. If you want to have a more serious conversation with him, baby, this feels so good. It feels so amazing, making each other feel good. Yet, where do you see us going? Or I can't have, sex with you all the time because I'm getting attached and I want to be in a relationship. And what do you think? And he might say, well, I've already told you I can't be in a relationship with you. And that's when you have to kind of decide, when am I going to cut this guy loose? Because at some point you will say, I can't do this anymore. I want to be in a relationship and I'm getting so super attached every time we do this. And I'm going to have to say goodbye. And then he's going to text you the next day and go, hey, baby, you miss me yet? And you're not going to respond. He's either going to go out of his mind missing you and come knocking on your door ready to try again with you, or he will go away and find some other woman that he can treat this way. But it's not going to be you. Okay? Let's go to the next one. Ashley says, what about when all he wants is the thing before sex that you can't talk about? I've come across this more than guys wanting sex. How do you handle that? So you treat it the same in a way. So they're wanting that. It's maybe some sort of loophole. You can talk about it and say, well, what about that's nice? What about that feels good? And I don't know. Sometimes I like it. I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess I would probably need, I did have an ex that liked it a lot, and I guess I liked it too. It was nice, but I don't know. You're talking about it. You're talking about it even though you're not talking about it. But if you do want a relationship with this man, just make sure that you're also incorporating other things into the conversation. Again, early on in the relationship, you don't want to talk about sex with a person. Know your boundaries. Will I make out with him? Can I take my top off? Can he, nothing close off below my belt? Will we just rub all over you? You need to find out what your boundaries are with sex and intimacy before the date. Because when something happens, you get a glass of wine in your hand and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm not doing what I said I would do. All right. Someone said, how long do you think is too long to wait? I have no time frame on that at all. The worst thing you can do is tell a man, I don't have sex with someone until I'm in a committed relationship with them. And then he goes, okay, I'll be in a committed relationship with you. One of two things happen. He hits it, then he quits it. And he goes, I don't think it's going to work out. Or you get him in that bedroom and you're like, what have I got myself into with this man? I do not want to be committed to this. I want something different. So I am all for, you can read it in Sex, that little free ebook. Well, it's in the library when you buy a program. And you learn how to have a lot of if-then. For example, if you want to try the guy out sexually once, you do it. You make sure everything works. You make sure this style works for you. And I'm talking about intercourse. I'm not talking about things that would be considered foreplay that actually are a type of sex. You try them out. You make sure everything works and you like it. The second time he comes around, that's when you say, it felt amazing and it felt so good. Yet I have only regular sex with someone that I'm in a relationship with. And I don't want to put any pressure on you or us, but I need to hold off on that a little bit until I know where I'm going. And make it about you and let the guy figure it out too. All right, so someone said, can you do a full video on seduction and the slow burn? I could, but it would probably get banned. I'll try to come up with something. And I'll look a little bit further into YouTube's policies with talking about such things. Someone says, how do you spice things up in a relationship when it comes to sex and playfulness? Well, you talk about it. You speak about it. And the biggest thing you can do is you think about it. Think about it. Fantasize about your partner. Fantasize about other partners. Make sure you're touching yourself. Making sure that, you're doing things like bubble baths and, getting your hair done and doing things that feel good to you, that bring about a good feeling in your body and you want to carry it. And then there are lots of things you can say to your husband. I have those in 500 ways to talk to a man. Something I tell my husband sometimes is like, I can't wait to get home and make out with you. And he's like, really? Yeah. Or certain body parts look really hot in those pants or jeans or whatever it may be. Or, oh, you're looking like a real stud out there mowing the grass. Just these little comments you're saying, and it's making their ego feel really good about them, and it's in a sexy way. So talk about it. Use your mouth to use your words with that, all right? You can talk about all sorts of things. So Princess T says she's got a perfect guy, but he wants to have sex with her and she wants to wait. Well, then you have to wait and you have to let him know. See, I don't know if you're in a committed relationship or you're just dating this man or not. But at some point you're going to have to try him out, unless this is for religious reasons, which I don't have too much to offer with that, except that do as much experimenting as you can. Let's see. Let's see here. I want to answer this question. Everything jumped up very quickly and I lost. Sharon said, my man and I broke up. After weeks, he called and we had a very needed heart-to-heart. I told him it would feel good to go out and do something fun together. How do you reintroduce romance back? So when you've gone through something like that, so we broke up, and then he comes a knocking again, and you say, hey, it would feel really good to go out again, and okay, you're dating him again. You're dating him again. And you're hopefully dating some other men too, because you want to be a wife one day. And you're dating him and you treat it like a first date, a second date, a third date, and you slowly let it unfold. Naturally, things will begin to happen in the relationship where the two of you are close. The best thing you can do is have your heart unzipped, have the windows of your heart open, have the area below your belly button, relaxed and opened. And if you need more help on that, I have 500 ways to talk to a man. And I also have a video class that goes with that. So go check that out on my website. Let's see. We'll take one last question. Lindsay says, how do you lean back? Just stop initiating texts and remain warm if when he returns. So I don't think you probably have any of my programs or my ebook. And I think if you did, you would understand this a little bit better. Stop initiating text sounds like something you're doing on purpose to make something else happen, doesn't it? Right? And if you're in a good situation with this man and he's coming around, he's taking you on dates and it feels good, you can text him, at least every other day or every once in a while or so first, but text him with a feeling statement and something that you're feeling in your body, not just, hey, what's up? Hey, what are you doing? Something that has some meaning. Now, at first, introducing this other side of you that maybe he hasn't seen or doesn't even know exists. So with leaning back, you absolutely want to be warm. You want to be open. You want to be curious. Have this total vibe of curiosity about you and playfulness. And just see what the man can do without you controlling anything. So nothing positive is gained through force. It will never work out. If you do anything forceful, dishonest, or manipulative, it will not work out. It will turn into a pumpkin after midnight. And it will be terrible for you. It will be the toughest thing you've ever done because you're walking a tightrope trying to keep this relationship going exactly the way you want to go. It's a little bit like flying an airplane. There's a line and they have to stay, the plane is constantly up above and below and up above and below, and they have to stay in that straight line. And a lot of the plane autocorrects itself. However, that's what it feels like when you're in that situation and you're doing things to try to get the man to be the man you want to love. if it's constantly like you're auto-correcting a plane, auto-correcting, and you're here and there, and you can't really be who you are. You can't open the windows of your heart. You can't be warm. You can't be playful and curious because you're thinking all the time. And if you're thinking all the time, you're in your masculine energy, and your masculine energy is now in company with another masculine energy man. And if he wanted to be with another man, he would. And he probably doesn't. So he'll go find another woman to be with, you see. Okay, I hope I have made sense to you guys about how to really drive a guy wild for you. Don't put him on a pedestal. Don't put these extra expectations on him that he has to be all these people to you and things like that. He doesn't. Let him be who he is, and you take care of you because you are on the pedestal, and you make sure you have girlfriends and counselors and women in your life and men in your life that you can chat with and talk with about things that feel good to you, because each of your worst day, your man can't always be the person to answer that call. You can always go to him and say, honey, I've had a miserable day. Can I have a hug? And he'll give you a hug. And you can also say to him, you can say, would a hug feel good right now? He might be like, no, that's okay. You go, okay. And then he might go, oh, honey, come here. So practice hugs, practice warmth, things like that. Okay, everybody, I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Please give my video a thumbs up. If I didn't get to your question, ask the question in the comment section below. I try to answer most of my questions if I can in the comments. And be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That way you'll know the next time I'm doing a class or I'm doing a YouTube live. Okay? Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Sending you all much love, and thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Bye.